When I was taking tuition, my teacher was a young woman. One day, I went to her house in the morning to pay her tuition fees. At that time, I saw her in the bathroom. After that, we did everything that should have been done. Hello friends, my name is Rakesh. I have had many girlfriends to date. For the first time, I am writing the true story of my teacher. When I was in 12th grade, I was weak in mathematics. So, my father enrolled me in a mathematics tuition class. The tuition class was far from my house, so I used to go by bicycle. On the first day, when I went to the tuition class, I realized that my teacher was a beautiful girl. The moment I saw her, I was mesmerized by her. Her name was Rohini. At that time, Rohini was 22 years old, but because of her appearance, she looked just 18. She taught very well, so I started attending her classes regularly and studying sincerely. Gradually, I started getting good marks in mathematics, which made my parents very happy. One evening, I went to Rohini's house to pay the tuition fee. When I arrived, I called out from outside, but there was no response. So, I decided to go inside. The door was open and not locked, so I pushed it and entered the house. I started looking for Rohini. Suddenly, I heard the sound of water falling. I went in the direction of the sound. It was coming from a room, possibly where the bathroom was. So, I went there. Rohini was in the bathroom of that room, and water droplets on her body sparkled like pearls. I immediately stepped out of her bedroom and went to the hall, where I sat on the sofa. I waited for Rohini to come. After a while, Rohini came out, dressed up, and saw me. She asked why I had entered her house like that. At that moment, I was just staring at her. Rohini looked very beautiful. Then, Rohini asked me loudly, and I came to my senses. I started giving her the money and said, "Madam, I came here to pay my tuition fees." While I was looking at her, she noticed that I was staring at her. Then, while taking the money, she asked me, "What are you thinking?" At that time, I got scared and said, "Sorry, madam, it won't happen again." Rohini then asked me, "Do you have a girlfriend?" Hearing this question, I was surprised. I was too nervous to say anything clearly. Then, Rohini asked me to sit and brought me some water. Now, she sat next to me and said, "There's nothing to be afraid of. Don't be scared." I nodded. Then, Rohini moved closer to me. She quickly started teaching me, but initially, I started resisting her. I told her, "Madam, you teach very well. Someone might see us." She replied, "Right now. It's just the two of us at home, and I won't tell anyone. You shouldn't either. This will remain just between the two of us." Saying this, she started doing what she wanted to do. Just then, someone knocked on Rohini's door. Both of us quickly separated. When Rohini opened the door, her parents entered the house. I paid Rohini the class fees and went back home. A few days later, school exams were about to start. Rohini helped me prepare well, and I performed excellently in my exams. After some time, the results were declared, and I had scored very well. Everyone in my family was happy because of my good grades. When I told Rohini about it, she congratulated me. A few days later, I went to Rohini's house, gave her sweets, and thanked her. Hearing this, Rohini hugged me tightly. After that, I returned home. Because of my good grades, my father bought me a new smartphone. After that, my tuition ended, but I still occasionally talked to and met Rohini. When I got my new phone, I also got a new number. I gave my new number to Rohini and asked her to give me a missed call, so she gave me her number. One day, Rohini called me and invited me to her house. Rohini and my mother were good friends. She took my mother's permission to let me stay at her house for a night, saying she needed help with a project. my mother allowed me to go. When I went to Rohini's house, she opened the door and invited me in. That day, there was no one else in her house. Seeing me arrive, Rohini was happy. She looked very beautiful that day. She loudly told me to sit down, saying, "Hey, hello, where are you lost? Please sit down." Hearing this, I came to my senses and sat down, smiling. Then, she went to the kitchen and brought tea and biscuits for both of us. We talked while finishing everything and started watching TV together. We put on a nice movie on TV. Watching the scene, we both became happy and excited. I also enjoyed it a lot and started accompanying her. Rohini locked the main door and all the windows and told me to do as she said. I agreed. She came close to me and said, "Let's respect each other and each other's feelings." After that, we went to bed. Both of our emotions were now overflowing. First, we started talking and understanding each other's feelings. We respected each other's emotions. Afterward, we both felt fulfilled and went to sleep. From then on, whenever we got the time, we made sure to meet and spend time together. Respecting each other's feelings. Later, I had breakfast and tea. I promised her that I would meet her again and said goodbye to her. Then, I left and reached home. Our interactions continued like this afterward as well. Whenever we got an opportunity, we would meet and spend time together, respecting each other. Now, she is married and living a happy married life. If you want to hear more such stories, subscribe to the channel.